Economy is sputtering. We learned this morning that job growth in the past 3 months has all but ended. There were just 22,000 new jobs created last month, and new revised data showed the economy actually lost jobs in June, the first time that's happened since President Trump's first term, back when most of us were still in isolation during COVID. And unemployment ticked up to 4.3%, the highest in nearly 4 years. An economy that's stalling out is bad news for any president, but particularly for one who got back into the White House in large part because of what voters saw as his economic acumen. When President Trump didn't like last month's jobs report, he fired the head of the agency that compiles it. This morning, he placed the blame on his economic nemesis, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell. Jerome, too late. Powell should have lowered rates long ago. As usual, he's too late. I'm joined by a terrific group of reporters here.
All right, before we let them go, let me jump in here. So I hate to say this, but like anyone who was paying attention could see this coming from a mile away. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. Um, this is maybe the middle of last year. I was talking about this in videos I was making, and not just me, there were several other content creators. And I think this is the problem with the actual mainstream media is they're always they seem to be just so behind. I think it's a combination of things. One, I think it's just, and again, I'm no expert. I'm a guy on YouTube, right, on the internet. So take this advice for exactly what it is. Free. Uh between AI and between, people cutting their bottom line or trying to make profit, basically, the only way to make, profit is keep um wages down, right? And you got to, and when you get close to certain quarters, you start slashing jobs to make those numbers look better. And that affects your overall bottom line, right? The only way to keep profits up is to keep wages down. If you can get labor for cheap, you're generally profitable. And I know I'm making it cut and dry. It's not that simple. It's very complex. But just is just my point of view. Just from people that I'm talking to and around, even on LinkedIn, you see lots of people turning their green lights on. Um, and it's kind of everywhere. And I think you got AI running amok, which people are, you start to see more mainstream media finally cover AI in ways that, it's actually affecting us and not like, oh, it's not going to take your job. Don't worry about it. No, it's coming. No one's safe. And I think at this stage of the game, it is in your best interest to do a few things. One, you got to find something that you're already doing that you can try and do on your own. I know not everyone wants to go out on their own. I'm not saying not get a job. If you can get a job, definitely take it for sure. But even with a job, it's not enough anymore. So you got to have that side hustle, if you will. Go after it. If you are passionate about something, you have a hobby that you do, try your best to leverage it into an income stream. That's what I would recommend. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm hoping to do with this channel. I got some other things I'm working on the side that just doing what I can, right? Like I've said before, my wife has started a little bakery, micro bakery, trying to get that off the ground. This is what you have to do in this type of environment. A good job is not good enough anymore. Now, there are some, I mean, even people who are making lots of money are living paycheck to paycheck. So you really have to lean into your skills and abilities and talents and just figure out what it is you can do to generate some type of income. And not everything is instant, but it would behoove you to start now. Do not wait. I'm seeing people start all types of businesses that are just, oh, I didn't know that was a thing, but go for it. If you've ever wondered if you can step out on your own and try it, now is your time. I just think the window is closing for jobs in general. Not saying all jobs. I think the trades are going to be just fine. I think they're going to weather it. But eventually, I mean, this thing is coming for all of us. If you're an accountant, to start picking up some side work, I would find those small mom and pop places that just need help closing out invoices and doing some payroll maybe. You'd be surprised how many small, speaking of trades, how many plumbers, electricians, and um, HVAC people that are doing it on their side. They're just not very tech savvy. Not all of them. And they would love to cut their costs instead of farming it out, have someone to do it on the weekends or something like that. These are all things that I know that people are doing. Because again, a good job sucks. You have to have multiple streams of income and not be afraid to work. Like I am putting in hours, and I'm not trying to talk about myself, but trying to build something. I'm trying because I see it coming, and I hate that I've been kind of spot on through this whole time. And again, I'm not special. It doesn't take you rocket science. Just look around. Everything we know about monetary policy has changed, and they're changing it right in front of our eyes. I mean, people are crying about interest rates right now, and they want interest rates to go lower. Again, if you haven't already, I'd recommend you watch Uneducated Economist. He's been talking about this, God, how long? Maybe 5 years or more since I've been following him anyway. He's been talking about it. But the Federal Reserve, they was back in 2018 or something like that. They had no more levers to pull to manipulate the economy. The lower bound of zero, they just had nowhere else to go. They were just exhausted all options. And then lo and behold, the perfect storm comes. I'm not going to say the word, but you fill in the blank, 19. And it gives them every single thing they need to pull the levers again. Take that for what you will. But I'm just saying, monetary policy is changing, and it's changing very fast. Even the idea or how we our money, and if they issue, here's the thing: when they lower interest rates, that's more debt issuance, and that debt will get gobbled up by very wealthy people, and they will more likely the wealth gap will become an even bigger chasm, and makes everything just that much harder, and you feel that much more restrictions, right? It's not a magic pill. There's so many layers here. But again, not getting off in the weeds. I'm not an economist, but I would encourage you, take a chance on yourself, go for it. If you're waiting around for that perfect job, I just I don't see it. I'm not saying you shouldn't get a job again. Take a job, still be looking for a job, but you got to be doing doubles. You got to work that job, that 9 to 5, and then you have to do something on the side. Anyways, I've been rambling a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I just want to stress between AI, between a lot of federal cuts, I don't see how this gets any better. You have to bet on yourself right now. I think even I just saw an article that said the high paying jobs, or white collar jobs in particular, getting cut. Let's listen to what else they have to say.
Anne Marie Horton of Bloomberg, CNN's Matt Egan, Abby Livingston of Puck, and Ested Herndon of the New York Times. Matt, take us through some of the numbers and what they mean.
Yeah, Dana, look, this was another brutal jobs report, and this really suggests that after years of historic resilience, the job market is facing some serious trouble right now. I mean, hiring has basically stalled out to almost nothing, right? Just 22,000 jobs added during the month of August. That is a fraction of what economists were expecting. It's crazy to think that not even a year ago, back in December, the economy was adding 300,000+ jobs. Now we're not even 10% of that. And as you noted, we saw that June was revised lower to show that for the first time since COVID, the U.S. economy actually lost jobs. So that ends this nearly 5-year streak of uninterrupted job growth. That was the second longest streak in American history. It's now over. And then the unemployment rate, so you mentioned that, ticking up from 4.2% to 4.3%. That's not high, per se, but it is the highest since late 2021. And Fed Chair Powell, he has said that that's the #1 indicator that he's looking at for evidence of weakness in this job market. I think that we shouldn't rule out the possibility that this is just a slow patch and the economy can rebound from here, right? I mean, job market's been so resilient for so long, but clearly this is another major challenge, and I think the warning signs in the economy are really piling up.
Yeah, and stand by, because I do want to get back to what you just mentioned on the Fed and interest rates. Instead, let's talk politics. Yeah. And I mean, yes, the president likes to say that immigration was a big issue. I'm sure it was. The culture wars, definitely. But we know the biggest reason, and it was the fact that people were hearing from President Biden that the numbers are good, let's just wait, but people didn't feel that way. Now it's the numbers that aren't looking good either.
Exactly. It's a mirror image from kind of 2021 when we had Democrats at that time kind of telling people, don't look at the numbers, don't kind of believe what's in front of you. You kind of hear that from Trump now. This is what we had kind of warned about all through the summer, the prospect that his kind of self-imposed economic crisis, tariffs driving that, could pose not just uncertainty, but a downward job market and really reverse what has been Trump's #1 strength coming into this. But I also think you got to add in the big, beautiful bill with this, right? And it speaks to, I think, is a kind of hypocrisy at the heart of Trump's second term. For all the talk about his growth among working class voters, his growth among working class voters of color, what we have seen in terms of economic reality here is a bill that largely amounts to a wealth transfer, a removal of benefits from SNAP and Medicaid. And I think that's the reason why you see some of those poll numbers, particularly on the economy, reversing among the very groups that delivered Trump the White House last year.
Abby?
Yeah. Again, bet on yourself. We're at that point. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save you. That job that you so covet is not coming to save you. So take advantage of the time, build something on the side, and build that thing up and put all your energy into it. Continue to invest, whatever it is. If you want to invest in a business or stocks, real estate, doesn't matter. You get assets because a tsunami is coming, and I hate to be the doom and gloom guy, but I would want a warning, and I'm trying to tell you. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I'll leave a link in the description to this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I appreciate you guys. See you on the next one.